Hello there, my name is Richard McMahon from the interview training company, passmyinterview.com, and in this tutorial I will teach you how to pass a program manager interview. So if you have a program manager interview coming up with any organization from across the world, please make sure you watch this tutorial from beginning to end because I promise it will make a huge difference to your preparation. And to achieve that goal, this is what I will cover throughout the presentation. I will give you a list of program manager interview questions that I recommend you prepare for. I will give you suggested answers to help you pass your program manager interview. I will tell you the qualities that you have to demonstrate throughout your program manager interview. And I will also explain where you can get access to further resources to help you pass your program manager interview. So, four really strong reasons why you should watch this from beginning to end. Now, before I get in to the program manager interview training tutorial, a very warm welcome to this presentation. My name is Richard McMahon, that's me there in the center of the screen. I've been helping people for about 20 years now to pass their interviews, and I always do that by giving you top scoring answers that you can't find anywhere else. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking the red button below the video. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. I've put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. And it's always great to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. And I would also appreciate your support if you gave the video a like, because by doing so, that tells me you enjoy the content and I will then spend more time creating it for you. Okay, let's get into the program manager interview tips, the questions, and the top scoring answers. So the first question I would like you to prepare for is tell me about yourself and why you want to be a program manager. So my tip for answering this question is this first program manager interview question is your opportunity to tell the hiring manager or recruiter about the skills, the qualities, and the experience you have that will enable you to add significant value to their organization. And it's really important that you focus on how you will add value to their business in the role of program manager. So here is my suggested answer. Since I first started working as a program manager, I have focused intently on improving my knowledge, my experience, and also my ability to bring instant and sustainable value to my employer by managing and delivering difficult and challenging programs. Just some of the skills and qualities I can bring to your organization include strong program management capabilities for projects of all sizes and complexities, knowledge of all usable program management methodologies and tools, and also the ability to see how my work is intrinsically linked to the commercial objectives of your organization. I am strategically driven and I will always focus on how I can add considerable value within my role as the program manager. I'm also a strong communicator with excellent interpersonal skills, and I can be relied upon to manage a portfolio of projects, allocate resources effectively whilst also managing budgets responsibly. Finally, I want to be a program manager simply because it is a role I am immensely passionate about, it is a role I have in-depth experience in, and it is also a role I am confident I can succeed in. So if you hire me as your program manager, I'll be able to contribute quickly so you can start to see an immediate and positive return on your investment. I like that answer because it sets you off on the right footing for the remainder of your program manager interview. It's in depth, it's positive in nature, and you are also showing passion in regards to how you can add value to their organization, which is really, really important. So the second program manager interview question I would like you to prepare for is, why do you want to work for our organization as a program manager? So it is vital you carry out plenty of research into the organization you want to work for. Talk about any news stories in your answer, product launches they've had, or how the organization is having a positive impact on society or the world as a whole during your answer. So here is a suggested answer to the interview question, why do you want to work for us as a program manager? As a program manager, I believe it's important to choose your employer carefully. To be effective in the program manager role, you need a supportive senior management team, a robust and ambitious brief to work towards, and also a team that is entirely focused on achieving the goals that are set by the organisation. Now, before applying for this program manager position, I carried out extensive research into the organisation to make sure it was somewhere I wanted to work long term and also where I was certain I could contribute to your vision whilst also observing your values and ethics. Now, due to those reasons specifically, and also coupled with the fact you have a strong reputation within the industry and with your customers and clients. I want to work for your company and establish myself as a reliable, productive, and reputable program manager. So, again, a very strong answer that gives clarity and purpose as to the reasons why you want to work for their organization as a program manager. Now, please don't go anywhere because I have a number of really important program manager interview questions to still work through. But when you're ready, if you want to click that link in the top right hand corner of the video, it takes you through to my website, passmyinterview.com, where you can download my full set of program manager interview questions and top scoring answers in PDF format, including the ones that I'm going through right now in this video. So let's now move on to the next question. How would you deal with a difficult team member as a program manager? So being able to deal with conflict or underperforming team members is an important aspect of any management role. And you'll need your team to be working at full capacity to achieve your strategic objectives. So let's give them an answer that shows that you are decisive in your decision-making skills and you can get underperforming or demotivated members of a team back up running quickly. I think it's important to understand that this type of situation has to be rectified quickly in order to prevent any long-lasting damage to the program, the team, or the organization. As a program manager, I prefer to manage by giving people the autonomy and the responsibility to carry out their jobs and roles reliably and to the required standards. However, if the line is crossed and a member of a team fails to deliver or fails to live up to my expectations, then I will take decisive action. This includes an initial conversation with the person being difficult to remind them of their responsibilities and to also ascertain the reasons why they are either being difficult or underperforming. The next step would be to set a definitive timescale for improvement with clear steps of what they need to do to get back on board with the team and the program. It would then be down to me to monitor the performance and support them in their role to make sure they contribute effectively as they should be doing in their role. That is a good answer because you are following a few small steps on how you would deal with anybody within a team or within the program who is being difficult, and you are totally focused on taking decisive action, which is important. So let's start looking at some more challenging program manager interview questions. Tell me about a program you were involved in that was failing to deliver the expected results and how you overcame the challenges. So tell me about a program you were involved in that was failing to deliver the expected results and how you overcame the challenges. So this is a difficult question to answer. However, my advice is to make sure you use the STAR technique when structuring your answer and also use your experience, any tried and tested methodologies and a positive attitude, and then you should be able to give an in-depth specific example. Now, I've just mentioned the STAR technique, and I think this will really help you to stand out during your program manager interview. So the STAR technique that you should use for behavioral type interview questions during your program manager interview forms of situation, task, action, result. So whenever they ask you a question like that, can you give an example of when you X, Y, Z? Then you should think about the STAR technique. So you start off your answer and you tell the interviewer the situation you were faced with. You then tell them the task that needed to be done. You then describe the action that you took and you finish off with the results following your actions. So always remember, for behavioral or situational type program manager interview questions, use the STAR technique. Let me now show you the STAR technique in action to prove how powerful it is. So again, the question is, tell me about a program you were involved in that was failing to deliver the expected results and how you overcame the challenges. In a previous program manager role, I was responsible for the output of a particular program that involved numerous projects and teams. Unfortunately, the client I was working for was hostile in his approach to the program, and it was not only extremely difficult to get hold of him when needed, but his attitude at times was particularly unhelpful. Now, partway through the program, he changed certain elements of the project specifications, which made things even more challenging to overcome. Some members of the project teams were starting to show signs of stress and demotivation. Now, as a positive and determined program manager, it was my responsibility to take control, motivate the project teams, and also steer things through to a successful resolution. I was determined not to let this program finish unsuccessfully, and I drew up a plan of action to steer the teams through the challenges. I started off by discussing the challenges with the various project team leaders and what was expected in terms of meeting the new specifications. I also advised on methods they could use in order to motivate the teams, to keep them focused on the processes, the methodologies we should all implement to overcome the challenges, and also the new milestones for the completion of each project element. Now, throughout the remainder of the program, I kept in constant touch with the team leaders analysed and monitored performance, and also adjusted actions as and when needed. Now, despite the numerous challenges along the way, through sheer determination, having a positive attitude, and also reacting to problems as and when they occurred, we managed to complete the program successfully to the new specifications and the set timeline. So you can see there, by following situation, task, action, result, it gives you the ability to provide an evidence-based answer. And that kind of answer shows that that type of situation is not a problem to you. You will sort things out. Now, anybody can sit there in an interview and say, this is what I would do in a particular scenario. However, if you can prove what you've done previously, then you are more likely to get the job, and that proves that you can add value to their organization straight away. So let's look at another challenging behavioral type program manager interview question where we can use the STAR technique again. Tell us about a time when your integrity was threatened and how you dealt with it. So when answering this program manager interview question, give a specific example again, and also make sure you use the STAR technique to score highly. So let's take a look at another example to this very tough interview question. I was attending an initial team briefing with project teams and stakeholders prior to starting work on an important program. Now, partway through the meeting, one of the stakeholders started to question why my approach to the program was, in his terms, overly cautious and not helpful to getting the program completed in the fastest time possible. Now, it was my job to explain to him how my approach to the program was important to not just the overall success of it, but also to the reputation and strategic objectives of the organisation. Throughout my response, I was professional, positive, and I used practical examples of how not following the standards of program specification that I recommended, it would be taking unnecessary risks and also putting the organisation in danger of not meeting its strategic objectives. After carefully explaining in detail why I felt my approach was fully justified and in the best interest of the business, the stakeholder agreed that this was the best way forward. I believe I have strong communication and interpersonal skills, and I'm able to explain things with clarity, understanding, and purpose when needed. So again, that shows you that using situation, task, action, result gives you the platform to create a very, very strong answer to behavioral type interview questions. And those candidates who are able to do that and give specific examples of when they've been in situations where they can meet the requirements of the program manager role are the people who get the jobs, okay? Because they can add value, as I've mentioned before, and they can prove that they are capable of meeting the role objectives. Now, my advice is to now go through to that website. Click the link in the top right-hand corner of the video. It goes through to my website, passmyinterview.com, and you can have a look at my full list of program manager interview questions. And you can also download the answers if you want to in PDF format. So you can literally have them in your inbox within 2 minutes from now. Literally, thousands of people are passing their interviews by using the resources available on that website. And I'd like you to get a copy so that you can put yourself in a strong position for passing your program manager interview. You get all of the answers that I've covered within this presentation, plus at least 21 in total. So it's definitely worth checking out. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. As I say, my LinkedIn link is in the description below the video. And please do give the video a like, because if I see people liking the videos, I will create more for you. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you all the best for passing your program manager interview. Have a brilliant day. Thank you.